Hey guys, this is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News with a Rock and Metal News CD review of the new In Flames. The album is Siren Charms. It's the 11th studio album from In Flames, which is now out. They released the first single called Rusted Nail on June the 13th. When I first heard that, I thought it wasn't as heavy as I expected because I am kind of used to some of the old In Flames, and that is some of the favorite work that they put out that I enjoy is some of their earlier, heavier stuff. And they also released it through Oblivion, which was sort of in the same vein, kind of a more mid-tempo, maybe some people might even call it alternative sounding for In Flames, as they've been changing their sound up in the last couple years, as you could tell with the Sounds of a Playground fading, and as they carry that on with Siren Charms. The one thing about this album that I've noticed is that the In Flames sound of the old is now a sort of a thing of the past. This band has moved on and are in a new sound, and they're definitely not as heavy as they were. However, I think because I've accepted that, I'm a little more open to this album, and I actually thought this album was fairly interesting and not too bad. I did like the majority of Sounds of a Playground fading. It wasn't another heavy album. It's just definitely not like old In Flames. So this album here starts off with the track In Plain View, and I actually thought it started off as a pretty heavy opening song. There's heavy riffs, some great tom work in it, and the lyrics are great. Nice heavy chorus. They've been writing more catchy choruses lately, and they continue that with this album. Overall, I think this album here is reflecting a different writing style that In Flames has brought on over the last 4 albums. It appears like their initial albums, they were really riff heavy and fast, and it was almost like they were writing guitar riffs, really heavy songs, and the lyrics then would be almost fit in to the riffs. Now it appears that they maybe Anders writes some lyrics first, and then they add the guitars around that, and that's what you notice is that it's very lyric and vocal up front. And the lyrics are kind of a lot of the highlights of the songs, and the vocals are really up front in the mixes. So that's kind of what the new In Flames is all about, it appears. The next song, Everything Is Gone, is another kind of a heavy track. There's a lot of double kicking in that. Lots of crunchy riffs, and they might have overdone the compression a bit on this album because the guitar is just it's really compressed, almost like some of the new modern sounding guitars in the with the newer bands that add a lot of compression. You'll get a lot of that in this new In Flames as well. And the third song is called Paralyzed. This one here, it's got a good groove to it. The drums kind of follow the guitar. There's some synth, and the vocals are very upfront in it. I like the way that they use the synth in this album. It's not overused, but it just adds a lot of atmospheric sounds to it. Even in this album, I can even hear there's piano, there's synth. It's very moody, and it's very sort of atmospheric. There's a couple of parts in here. I don't want to compare them with Typo Negative, but there was just some sounds within this album that brought me back and sounded almost a little bit like Typo Negative in the aura and mood and feel of some parts of each of certain songs. One of my favorite songs is with when the world explodes. Some people are saying they're trying to kind of be a metalcore type sound. Well, yeah, you can hear that in there, especially with the kick drum patterns and the guitar riffs. But I actually kind of enjoyed that track as it had a lot of dynamics in it. It was heavy. They bring it down. It features Emilia Feldt, who is an opera singer as well. So it kind of added a nice sort of aura to the song, and it was very interesting. Some people thought that they may have overdid this, or they were trying too hard to try to make a certain sound, but I kind of enjoyed that track. Overall, this album here is, to me, almost like a continuation of Sounds of a Playground Fading, with some, maybe heavier elements actually added into it. So overall, I didn't think it was a really great album, but I did think it was a, half-decent, solid album, and they do write some catchy melodies in it, and sometimes, the guitar harmonies in this, they were just right on the money, and I love some of the In Flames guitar harmonies, which they did keep in this album. So, I would say this one here is probably, if I was going to rate this out of 10, I might give it like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I guess kind of hoped for an old style In Flames heaviness. However, I think we kind of have to accept now, unless they kind of surprise us, that In Flames have changed their sound and they aren't as heavy. It's kind of, I'm almost feeling like that with Opeth lately too, in the last couple of albums out. I'm really expecting this really big, heavy, growling album from Opeth, and they come out with this kind of, 60s, 70s prog sound. So, I'm starting to accept, I haven't accepted Opeth yet, but I'm starting to accept the new In Flames and actually enjoy it. And it's a little different than some of the really, really heavy stuff that I've been listening to lately. So check out In Flames, Siren Charms, and let us know what you think of that. This is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News. Thanks for tuning in.